So first of all, why should you be willing to banter? In today's age, a lot of people might be afraid to banter because sometimes that could be seen as disrespectful. If someone doesn't want to banter, I really think that they're missing out because banter is just one of the funnest parts of conversation. And of course, there's a right way to do it. There's a way to do it respectfully, playfully, and without being rude or awkward. But when you become like this person who like no one can banter around, no one can kind of poke fun at, and it's not like bullying, but it's more like someone just makes a joke at your expense and then you kind of like joke back at their expense, and it's like this playful thing between friends. Yeah, I think it's just you're missing out on a lot of fun conversation. I can think of an example of like, imagine there's this guy who every time a joke is made at his expense, he gets extremely angry, very upset, and he starts yelling and cursing and everything. The next time people are around this guy, do you think they're gonna poke fun at him? No. And you might think, well, isn't that kind of a good thing? The problem is you're missing out on so much conversation. People aren't talking to you because they're afraid of you, and that's not a good thing. You have to be willing to, in a sense, take a joke. And this isn't by all means just to like, if something actually upsets you, like if they're bantering and something upsets you, just let them know, because the whole point of banter is that it is friendly conversation. It is actually loving conversation. Like, siblings banter between each other, and they should. If they don't do that, well then that could just be the way that they're raised. But I think it's actually better when like people have better relationships when they do banter. I suppose now I will speak about how you can begin to banter and do it respectfully. So how do you do it respectfully? There are a few things that you have to keep in mind when you try to banter with people respectfully. Number one, you don't touch sensitive topics. So for example, if you're, let's say, bantering with a girl, you don't mention weight, you don't mention attractiveness, you don't mention femininity or whatever. Bantering with guys is a bit different. I guess it just depends on the person. Like, you should know the person that you're bantering with to the point where you know what makes them uncomfortable, you know what you shouldn't really, joke about with them, and then you can just avoid those topics with that person. So that's how you do it respectfully. And in the case that you do offend someone, just apologize. That it's not worth causing this damage between friends or whatever, just for a bit of banter. The whole point of banter is that, again, it is a fun thing to do with friends, and it can be very enjoyable to do if you do it lovingly and respectfully. When it comes to banter, I'll be honest, with some people it flows easier than others. Like with some people I don't even banter with, even though like we're friendly, because I don't know. It's just like some part of their personality where like if I made a joke at their expense, I don't know if they would take it well, or like they might just take it literally, or maybe I just haven't tried it with them and I don't know what their reaction is yet, and I still need to, gauge whether I can do it with them or not. So now I'm going to talk about more reasons why banter is actually important. First of all, bantering, it shows like signs of social intelligence. So when you banter with someone, or you try to banter with someone, and then they just like take it literally, or they take offense to it, and you actually were respectful and you were considerate, if they still get upset, then it just shows that they're not really socially calibrated. That's not their fault, I suppose, and it's not really a problem actually, but I just think it's a shame because it's awesome to banter with buddies and with friends, and you have such a good time. Like, I have to keep repeating myself, you have a great time when you can banter with people. When you can't, you often just stay on shallow topics like small talk, and like you don't really get closer to the other person. Now, when speaking in a romantic context, it depends on your personality, but I really think that bantering actually is really good for a healthy relationship, a romantic relationship, because it allows people to laugh with each other over maybe like little things that don't really hurt. But laughing together is probably one of the best ways to bond with somebody else. And that's not even in a romantic context. That's just in general. Laughing with people helps a lot, and bantering achieves a lot of laughs. I guess one more thing to just add is that bantering is just something that's human. Like if we took away all the screens, if we took away the internet, we took away comedy shows or whatever, how would people find entertainment with just other people? All right, they would play around, they would goof off, they would banter, they would make jokes, they would. In other words, bantering is like one of the essential things to being a human. Like I'm not saying you're not human if you don't banter, but I'm saying that if all the distractions and all the video games and the social media were taken away from you and you were just stuck in a room with a group of people, how would you have how would you spend your time? How would you have fun? Banter is one of those ways. And I mean, there's like adventure, there's camaraderie, there's other things too, of course, but banter is just one of those easy things where it's I don't know, it feels weird to be preaching about banter, but a couple years ago, I probably wouldn't have been so into banter, but the thing is, when you meet the right person, when you meet the right people, and you can banter with them freely, and you actually enjoy similar kinds of banter with each other, it it's very I'm a broken record at this point. It's very enjoyable. It's very fun to be around those people. So yeah, that's why I think banter is important, and I think you should learn it, or I think you should really place that at high importance on like the hierarchy of social skills. Banter, doing it respectfully, doing it lovingly, doing it playfully, that is something that is so wonderful. Anyways, that's it for this video. It's cold outside. Thank you for watching.